Remember when an album cover was a work of art? When you'd stare at it for hours, wondering what these people were really like? These photos answer that question. They show you the faces behind the music, unguarded, unposed, and real. This is the stuff we dreamed about seeing back then, and now, finally, we can. Mick and Keith in Canada, 1979. This wasn't a regular show. It was court-ordered. Keith had to play this benefit to stay out of jail, and he played like his life depended on it, because, in a way, it did. One of the rawest Stones gigs ever. The definitive Deep Purple lineup. But behind the success, singer Ian Gillan and guitarist Ritchie Blackmore were at war. Their feud was so bitter that Gillan quit at the height of their fame, tired of Blackmore's ego and the endless touring. Debbie Harry, late 70s. Parallel lines turned her into a global star, but she was never just a pretty face. She built this image herself. Punk edge, Hollywood glamour, total control. The blueprint for how to do it on your own terms. The Cure, 1979. Before the hair, the lipstick, the fog machines. Just three skinny kids making nervous, sharp post-punk. This is where it started. Minimal, dark, a little weird. They had no idea what they were about to become. Zeppelin at their notorious Hollywood hangout, the Chateau Marmont. This hotel became the scene of their most legendary wild behavior and rock and roll adventures. Stories that became the stuff of myth and helped define their larger-than-life reputation. The Who in 1968, with a psychedelic bus from the Rolling Stones rock and roll circus. The band was on the cusp of a major change, moving from pop art to the full-blown rock opera of Tommy a year later. Behind Fats Domino's easygoing charm was a true architect of rock and roll. His 1949 record, The Fat Man, is arguably the very first of its kind. It's no wonder Elvis Presley himself would later call Fats the real king. George Harrison and Stevie Nicks, 1978. Two people who believed in things bigger than rock and roll. Mysticism, magic, the stuff you can't explain. Different bands, different worlds, same wavelength. You can almost feel the conversation in this photo. CSNY rehearsing for their 1970 summer tour. Deja Vu just dropped. They were the biggest band in America, and the most fragile. Four brilliant, stubborn musicians who could barely stand to be in the same room. Moments like this? Rare. Enjoy it while it lasts. The revolution begins. To announce their radical politics to the world, the cover of Rage Against the Machine's debut album featured a powerful, historic photograph from the Vietnam War era. They were a band with something to say. The effortlessly cool Paul Simonon, bassist for The Clash. While he looks calm here, he's the man responsible for one of rock's most iconic images, smashing this very model of bass guitar on the legendary cover of London Calling. Eric Clapton in the mid-70s. This was his laid-back era, heavily influenced by the Tulsa sound of J.J. Cale. Clapton's massive hit covers of J.J. Cale songs like After Midnight turned his underground hero into a household name. The Glimmer Twins go mystical at Stonehenge. This 1967 photo was for the cover of the Stones' psychedelic answer to Sgt. Pepper. The whole project was a mess, constantly interrupted by legal troubles that landed Mick and Keith in jail. Jimi Hendrix in a quiet moment before a show in Queens. But outside this locker room, things were tense. Massive crowds without tickets tried to force their way into the already packed venue, creating a dangerous situation that previewed the challenges of the festival era. Proof that even the man in black had a soft spot. This photo of Johnny Cash was part of a series for a family Christmas card. Despite his tough outlaw image, he was a deeply sensitive man and a lifelong animal lover. The classic Floyd lineup. Their greatest moments were often happy accidents. The famous whale-like sound in their masterpiece Echoes was discovered when David Gilmour accidentally plugged his wah-wah pedal into his amp backwards in the studio. The undisputed face of new wave punk. But before she was the iconic Debbie Harry, she was a waitress, a folk singer, and even a Playboy bunny. She paid her dues for years before changing the sound and style of rock and roll. John and George in 1966, during the revolutionary Paperback Writer Sessions. This was the bridge to Revolver, the moment they started using the studio as an instrument, leaving the world of pop music far, far behind them. The original, Little Richard, in 1970. During his big comeback, he reminded the world who invented flamboyant rock and roll. His wild energy and androgynous style in the 50s had paved the way for a whole new generation of rock superstars. The Mamas and the Papas. Those harmonies, pure California sunshine. But behind the scenes, a mess. Everyone with everyone, jealousy, heartbreak, the works. The songs came out perfect anyway, maybe because of it. They didn't last long, but man, while it worked,